Hello, Internet, and welcome to the Free-to-Play Cast, episode 135, brought to you by MMOBomb.com, your home for all things free-to-play related. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, aka Magic Man. We've got news. It's been a week. We're going to cover your bombs. We're going to cover your comments, your questions for the hosts and I. Joining me, once again, it's a two-man show. Celsius got called into work, and we couldn't push back the recording anymore. See, you know, schedules. They suck. They suck, don't they, Jason?
Who needs work? We just sit around and play video games all day.
Mr. Jason Winter, joining me as always. So we've got some games to talk about. Kind of light.
Really? Is that what we do?
Yeah, it was kind of light this week. It was one of those. I feel like I'm writing a Skyforge piece every frickin' day. You know, I got to give it to their marketing team. They actually put out news on a consistent basis, or somebody blows up on their forums. Who knows? So we talked last week about the payment stuff, so if you haven't seen some of the updates, they did talk about their monetization model. So if you watched last week's episode and you wanted an update, we're not going to cover Skyforge today. Check out MMOBomb.com. There is an article up there from yesterday or the day before, or whatever, Monday or Tuesday.
Say we're not going to cover Skyforge, but probably while we're recording, something will happen and we'll have to talk about it.
Right. Launch date announced. Shit! So check out the article. They did detail some of their plans for Western monetization, and it's pretty much exactly like what we were talking about in the show. So, that being said, let's head over and cover news that isn't Skyforge. Alright, so this week, H1Z1, Jason's favorite game ever.
I have like 12 hours playing on Steam. 13.
H1Z1 got a big damn patch, as they say. That's the name of the patch. And they also laid out a roadmap for pretty much all of April. So you wrote up the article. Let's start with the patch notes first. They're advertising it as a big damn patch. How big is it? What's changed? What can we look forward to?
Well, they changed. They added a weapon. They added a 380 caliber pistol. They added craftable workbenches, like you mess around with ammo and so on. Revised how the map works. A little before that, they introduced zombie hordes as a thing, and they kind of refined that, talking about how zombie population will depend on player population on the server and be a little more localized to where players are actually doing stuff. So that's something I haven't had a chance to check out yet, but definitely sounds like, from what I've been reading, really changed how the game plays. There's a lot more to do, especially at least in a PvE standpoint, which was kind of lacking before. They revised the dam area, which I've been to and was kind of okay, but I could see how they could make some changes to it. And they enhanced first-person pickup truck interior, which, okay, I guess that's a thing.
Thank God.
I know the dashboard on my pickup truck was so terrible that they had to change that.
So it sounds like, well, maybe it's a big patch. It doesn't sound like a whole lot has changed as far as, you know, somebody jumping in the game and noticing some big changes were made. Yeah,
I mean, again, if you hadn't played before, like I said, they put in the zombie horde thing a little before that. So this patch just kind of refined that. And the big thing it looks like is the crafting stuff and all the different dismantling and ammo conversion and all that. That seems to be a pretty big deal. So I guess, again, it's not a huge, you know, it's not on the level of zombie hordes in terms of something you're going to just recognize immediately. It's something you have to dig into a little bit more to really get the feel of it. But that's probably the most significant part of it all.
Now the roadmap, I think, is a little more interesting.
Yeah, I mean that's something they did for PlanetSide 2. I don't know if they might be doing it for Landmark too. I don't recall, but yeah, that's something they do to kind of give you ideas of like what they're doing with each update. 'Cause they do updates, small or large, just about every week for their in-development games, or I think for PlanetSide 2, it's like every month. So, but yeah, I mean, it's almost April 9th. So it's almost time for the April 9th update. So they're gonna have handcuffs.
Yeah. H1Z1's getting kinky, adding restraints, handcuffs, zip ties, all that jazz. Now that is actually going in tomorrow, as of this recording. If you're watching this when we put it up, it's going in today, as you're watching it. Tomorrow as we're doing this. Another first pass through the whole crafted armor thing, which you kind of alluded to in the patch notes. Death screen stats. How were these not in there already?
I can see it. 'Cause it's an extra thing. I mean, it's not something you really need to play. So I can get that it was not the highest of high priorities to put in right at the launch of early access. So yeah, okay, whatever.
Here's an idea that's being added. If you're in water, you move slower.
I remember seeing in one of the early streams before they even went into early access, they had it. There was a deer walking on the water. So
Jesus deer.
this is the second iteration of making water more realistic, I guess.
It's the Jesus deer. Of course, bug fixing, that's going to be in every update, big or small. More anti-cheating stuff, which we're going to talk about in a minute because Reddit is kind of unhappy with the amount of cheating still going on in H1Z1. But it's alpha, don't be critical.
You're charging us for it, so we're going to.
Right, exactly.
You're treating it like a released game with all your PR, so yeah.
Yeah, the PR is a bit much. Like even for us that we read lots of pressers every day.
And I sort of touched on this with my A-bomb a couple weeks ago, so.
Yeah, it's when you dropped the F-bomb.
F-bomb and the A-bomb, yeah.
April 16th, H1Z1 is bringing up a test server. Okay, so a test server that launches from Steam for players to see the latest patch before it comes out. Makes sense.
Well, but it's kind of weird. Isn't the whole game a test right now?
Yeah,
I mean, alpha? Is it in early access?
Right. And I get that point of view that it is alpha, so aren't they all test servers? But we kind of saw this with WildStar, right, where they didn't take the time to get a test server up and running prior to launch and then realized, oh shit, we really need a test server post-launch, and it was kind of a fiasco to do it at that point. So I get this one. Yes, they're all technically test servers, but get a legit test server up and running, and then you don't have to worry about adding it in the future.
Yo, dog, I heard you like test servers.
Right.
Test server for your test server.
It's test serverception. So the truck is getting an interior remodel. On April 16th, apparently the police car needs detailing as well. So that'll be done. And then they're implementing throwables, which this one is one that I can't wait for, actually.
Grenades.
This is your grenades, your smoke grenades, your Molotov cocktails, flashbangs, all that stuff. And screen effects. Here's a biggie, though. Tell me what you think about this. The H1Z1 virus.
They're actually adding the H1Z1 virus.
Yeah, it's gonna be added to H1Z1. That's incredible.
Oh my god! But yeah, apparently, you can become a zombie. You can turn into a zombie if you get the virus.
Yep.
I know there was something in there's like some sort of H1Z1 immunity, or there's a serum or something you can get in game. I know at one point I got a syringe and I was able to get it. I was able to take a dead zombie and take a sample of his blood or something, so...
Yes. So what happens is they're adding the H1Z1 virus to the body sim. Now, once a player has the H1Z1 virus, if you don't maintain it with those items that you were just talking about, Jason, you'll slowly begin turning into a zombie. You'll gain the zombie senses as you go, like night vision, player tracking, and things like that. What it doesn't say is that at some point you can fully turn into a zombie, right? It just says you'll slowly turn and gain senses as you go. I would assume that it will ultimately end with you turning into a zombie, but what happens at that point? Is it gameplay over, or can you now play the game as a zombie until you're killed?
I know they were talking about playable zombies as a thing in some Reddit post from a while back. I know that got a lot of not really good response from players, so I don't know if they're going to make it that way, or if it's going to be, once you're a full zombie, you're done. Make a new character.
It's just game over at that point.
I think I'd prefer that. I think I'd prefer that way, because as cool as it might be to be a zombie, it's just like, I don't know. It just seems against the kind of core of the game of being a survival game.
Yeah,
then it turns into a Horde versus Alliance kind of thing.
Yeah, to me, the idea of being a zombie in this type of game is appealing. I do like the idea that you can't just roll a zombie. Something has to happen in-game for you to become a zombie, but I can see where you're coming from, where it really just changes the dynamic of the whole survival game. Now it's a PvP game.
It's a PvP faction game.
Yeah, faction-based type thing. So Steam Marketplace, adding the game onto the Steam Marketplace, you could buy, sell, and trade items on your inventory. That's, again, April 16th. Grouping system, thank God, because it's not really conducive to what you're trying to do, that it's not there. And more anti-cheat. Auto-banning. Implementing a better way for the system to auto-ban cheaters rather than having customer service do it by hand for specific cheats. So I could see that one going catastrophic for the first couple of weeks. And finally, the April 23rd update, first person in Battle Royale. You'll be adding a first person Battle Royale servers. Okay. To me, that's, third person, first person really doesn't matter. But I guess in that type of mode, that would be a very big thing. Session diary, a running log you can look at while you're playing, showing the progress of that session.
What kind of... Is it going to be like a diary? Say, today I found a canned food in this cupboard.
Yeah.
And then I shot Joe in the head. and took his shoes.
Gotta cure that H1Z1 virus. Adding Steam Friend functionality. And then, of course, the off-road. The off-roader interior needs to be done as well. I'm wondering why these are spaced out. Do you think it's just a time we're going to focus on one vehicle at a time and kind of polish them up? I guess that's kind of got to be the way it's...
Wouldn't it be better PR to have the interior patch?
The big damn interior patch.
I told you, they got to put it... They need to have fuzzy dice.
Oh, definitely. On the cop car. On the cop car, too. Put them hanging from the mirror on the cop car.
Hanging wherever you want.
So speaking of all of these updates coming with anti-cheating / ban thing, when H1Z1, when Legion CM posted pretty much the big damn patch notes on Reddit, while a few people did comment, hey, great, loving these patch notes, this is good, have a question here, it pretty much turned into a what are you doing about certain cheaters post. And it did so really quickly. We won't give names here just because we don't want to call attention to these type of people and give them the attention that they want, right? But there are people that are fairly well known in H1Z1 as streaming the game and hacking / cheating / exploiting and receiving bans or temp bans or permanent bans, but then all of a sudden showing back up on streams in-game, no problem. And so, of course, the community goes a little bit nuts. The community goes nuts. So here's my thing, though. And we don't, again, I'm not going to go into who this is and what they're doing. We'll skip that. I'm not giving attention where it doesn't need to be. But while I think it's important, obviously, that in particular this type of game is very careful about finding those players and getting rid of them as quickly as possible, is it a little early to be having the cheating discussion? I mean, the game isn't actually out of alpha technically, and as far as functionality, there's a lot of things wrong with the game in general that cause issues with gameplay. Is it a bit early to be this rambunctious about cheaters, or is it right on time, do you think?
No, it's never too early, I think. Especially in the case of the guy we're talking about on Reddit, who was apparently, like, in his stream saying, yeah, I'm cheating, I'm using a hack, so I don't really care. What are they going to do to me? Yeah, when you're that blatant about it, yeah, you should definitely get banned. But as you say, yeah, sometimes things can go wrong. Sometimes things aren't necessarily hacks as much as they are, you happen to see through a wall because it was coded wrong or whatever. Now, Legion goes into it a little bit about, if someone is reported multiple times in a short period, they figure that guy is probably hacking as opposed to just, one-off. He happens to, fly through the air. Cop car comes out of the tree when he hits it. That happens. So, yeah, I mean, you can't get into great detail about everything they're doing. But, yeah, again, if it is a paying service, and people are ruining your fun by the hacking or whatever, then you definitely need to devote some resources to figuring out how to stop that. If nothing else, so that you can refine those formulas and refine your processes so that when it comes to launch, you are ready to fully deal with it. And that is, to some extent, something like like the thing we saw about how they're going to have an improved anti-cheat detection system in place, theoretically, by the time that next patch comes out.
Do you think Daybreak Games is not going to have too much of a problem with this? I mean, I gotta say that when PlanetSide 2 was getting out of control with cheating and hacking and exploits and things like that, they did drop the ban hammer all the time. And they've made changes to the game that, yes, you're always going to have some element of people that are able to bypass things and then get caught and thrown out. But I gotta say that their reaction and the way they perform with PlanetSide 2 leads me to believe that they're probably going to do a pretty good job in H1Z1 when it comes down to actual launch time.
Yeah, PlanetSide 2 was definitely in its early few months. I was there, and it could be pretty bad at times. And it's since I've been playing more recently, I haven't witnessed any sort of widespread hacking or anything like that. So yeah, I think that's something they're going to get into. And I think it's also that, when we talk about the specific guy in particular, about how the big deal, the thing about on Reddit was how, he only, apparently, they thought he only got a 3-day ban. I can't quite figure out, reading between what he's saying, what Legion is saying, what all the players are saying, on what actually happened and how much of a ban this guy got. But I get that you have to be a little careful, especially like you say, in these early stages. You don't necessarily want to set up systems to auto-ban people forever in the chance that 1 out of 100 isn't actually cheating. Because that guy's going to get banned. He's going to scream and yell about it. And that creates bad attitudes. So they kind of have to go at it a little slowly.
Yeah, and I mean, having an appeal system is great and all, but you don't want to put all of your players through having to use the damn appeal system. Because, to be honest, if I got accidentally banned from H1Z1, I wouldn't look back. I wouldn't even bother filing an appeal at this point. Maybe come launch if I have some more invested in the game, but whatever. I mean, there are damn few games that if I got accidentally banned, I'd actually take the time. This isn't just an H1Z1 thing. There's very few games that if I got an email that said, hey, you've been banned, and I thought, I didn't do anything, maybe I should appeal this. I think there's maybe a handful of games that I would actually take the time to go through the appeals process.
That reminds me, about 2 days ago, I got an email that looks legit. I haven't done anything with it. Apparently from Nexon, saying that my account has been suspended due to suspicious activity. I haven't touched a Nexon game in forever.
Were you trying to sell your account? Is that what you were doing?
Oh yeah, totally. So
you were trying to sell your Nexon account.
But again, it's that same sort of thing where it's like, well, it's a Nexon game. What do I care?
Well, yeah. So let's take a look at the list here. So let's see. Did you screw up in MapleStory, Dirty Bomb, Mabinogi, Atlantica Online, Combat Arms, Dragon Nest, or Vindictus? Those are all games that, while there are some that I enjoy, if I got an email tomorrow that said my account was banned, okay. Whatever. I'll just take the ban and go play something else.
Although they are, who are they working with? Working with some new. Oh, they're working with the Project Blue Streak, Cliff Blazinski's new team. So I might be interested in that. So I might care at that point.
I don't know. Even at that point, I might be like, Jason, you have the first look when that comes out, because my Nexon account was banned. All right, let's move on. That's enough H1Z1. Zombies. Let's talk cards and some Hearthstone. You were playing during a stream, the Bomb Lives, as it were, the Blackrock Mountain, not expansion, the Blackrock Mountain Adventure. You've been dabbling in it. Tell me about it. What are you thinking?
It's good. It's if you like Naxxramas, if you liked how they did that with the tiers and the different wings and so on, and playing against a computer, playing your solo, playing a solo game against computer-controlled enemies, then yeah, I mean it's basically the same thing. The only difference is that the first wing isn't free this time around. It's like whatever. But anyway, yeah, I mean it's 3 battles against 3 different bosses. The conversation from the bosses is interesting. That's definitely a highlight of it. And then it has, as usual, the class challenge modes, which are little fun decks they put together that you have to play against the bosses. The mage one, the only card you get in the deck is Unstable Portal, which just gets you a random minion every time. So you just play random stuff all game long, pretty much. It's like the Hunter one they did last year with the Web Spinner. And then they have the heroic mode ones, which oddly I actually beat this time. I didn't beat any of the heroic Naxxramas bosses. I gave it like 1 or 2 tries, but I was like, whatever. But I was like, I'm gonna actually try the heroic mode Blackrock Mountain ones. I have kind of an idea for them. I actually beat all 3 of them with a little practice. So I don't know if they're easier or if I'm just that much more elite now or what. But,
I'm gonna go with they're probably easier.
Yeah, probably. But now I want to go back to go try the Naxxramas ones. So.
You give us an update. If you end up losing, then we definitely know it was just that they're easier.
Thanks for the confidence, man.
Hey, man, I suck at that game too. I got swamped.
2? What do you mean 2? I'm awesome. One other thing they also added, it looks like with the patch that brought this along, they added a new daily, which is watch a friend using spectator mode, watch him win a game, and it gets you a full pack of classic cards. So that's an odd thing to have, because a friend of mine, they pinged me on Twitter, was like, hey man, you play Hearthstone, I gotta watch you play. I'm like, why? apparently, so he can get a pack. And I got the same quest yesterday. So I have to get him back now. I have to watch him die.
Hey, buddy, come watch a match. So let me ask you this, if you don't mind answering. Are you paying for these, or do you farm up gold in-game to
I
buy them?
farm up gold. I've never paid for Hearthstone.
So that being a big thing, as far as this is one of their monetization plans, besides just buying random packs of cards, is these adventures and expansions and whatnot being for cash sale. Are you finding it difficult or time-consuming to farm up enough gold, or is it just your average play sessions that you go through between adventure packs or expansions is enough to farm up the gold for you?
It would be enough if I wasn't spending my gold also on packs and arena runs and so on. I am having to do some farming, having to really pay attention to the quests I have and make sure I get enough gold out of those to. And I might still I have some left to do. I've got enough to buy the next couple of wings, but I'm gonna have to really work at it to get enough for the next couple ones, or ones after that rather.
So is it feeling like a chore, or is it just your average gameplay, and you'll do it, you'll make it, you'll be fine as long as you're paying attention and doing the right quests and things?
It is a bit of a chore because, again, like I said, I prefer to play arena usually, and I usually I can get like 5 or 6 wins kind of consistently, but that's not enough to really cover your expenses, enough to get you a pack to go with it, and also because you only get one new daily per day, I'm fighting myself. Like every 2 or 3 days, I'll hop in, play a bunch, get all my gold for my dailies, and then just not play for a couple days while I wait for my dailies to come back. So if you're the type of person who wants to, you can't really get it just by playing like 4 hours a day or something like that, because you only get the 10 gold.
Right.
Apart from your quest, you only get the 10 gold for winning 3 matches. So that's a really slow way to do it. Unless you're really great at arena and you average like 8 or 9 wins every time, you're making 200, 250 gold per. But
so, speaking of Hearthstone, Jason started about a month ago a new...
It's all me, man.
It's all Jason. Started a new series of articles on MMOBomb.com about a month ago. He posts one every week called Love It or Hate It. And the basic idea is we give you a game, Jason throws out a couple pros and a couple cons, and leaves it up to you, the viewer, to decide. So if you're watching on YouTube and you don't come over to the site, we obviously hope you would, MMOBomb.com. At least stop over once a week. Give us your opinion on Love It, Hate It. We did a Hearthstone one a few weeks ago. What happened with that one?
That was actually my first one. And the reason I chose Hearthstone is because whenever I post a Hearthstone article or you post one, like immediately there's all it's pay to win, it's a free to play crap game, whatever. And I was like, well, all right, what other than the few rather exuberant commenters we get, what do people as a whole think of it? And I put it out there, and it actually got, I want to say, I'd have to look at let's see, the exact numbers were 157 voted to love it, and 67 voted to hate it. So it's something like, and then 170, I put a neutral choice in there in case you just don't have a really strong view. So that was like, it's like 42% for love it, 18% for hate it, or something like that.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the results right now. We had almost 400 votes, 394 to be exact. 40% loved it, 17% hated it, and 43% said meh.
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 So, for all the hate that it gets, it looks like our readers actually like it.
Two to one. A little over 2 to 1. Readers like it, but at a rate of 1 to 1.
Well,
people don't care.
I didn't want someone who, because some people don't play Hearthstone.
Right.
Some of the games we posted here, I don't play. So I don't want people to feel obligated to, and I especially hate that. I don't want people to necessarily be like, oh well, I heard that's terrible, or I heard it's great, so I'm going to vote for it this way. So I wanted to give that option for people who had a kind of a neutral feel for it, or who hadn't played it and still wanted to click a button.
So this week's right now is War Thunder. You just put it up yesterday.
Yep.
Already has about 200 votes in.
And I don't look at the votes until like the day they go, till the day I'm ready to update, which by the way is every Tuesday. Every Tuesday like afternoon.
That's
usually about 2 or 3 is my time.
Spoiler alert for Jason. You're just shy of 200 votes right now. We got 196 in. And this one is a clear runaway. I won't tell you whether people like it, hate it, or are just meh about War Thunder.
Judging by the comments on the World of Tanks one, I think I know which way it's going.
But it is a clear runaway with 200 votes in. So if you want to check out Whether War Thunder is in the love it or hate it category or in the meh category, head on over to mmobomb.com and just in the search bar type love it, hate it, and you'll get all the articles, including the most recent one. Stop by every week, post your vote too. More stuff Jason is doing. More stuff.
I'm productive as all hell this month.
We launched a new show, a monthly show, called 3 Things We Like About Insert Game here. And if you want to just keep it short, we also subtitled it Triple Play. So this first inaugural episode launched a few days ago on YouTube, being very well received. Jason did a great job with this show.
Man, you should be my publicist.
I should. Did a great job with this show. And it's just, we do the first looks, right? And then 5 years later, that game is still running, and if you go and look at the first look, in a lot of cases, it doesn't even apply in a lot of ways. So we do gameplay action occasionally, where you and I jump into a game, or I jump into one, and it's something we've played, it's something we've already done a first look, but it was 3 years ago, and so now we're playing it a little more, and we give kind of an updated first look, right? But what Triple Play is a shorter, bite-sized episodes, 5 to 7 minutes-ish, that type of show.
Or
and
3.5 in this case.
Yeah,
might go longer.
Yeah, no biggie. And it's just something that one of us is playing a lot of recently. Some free-to-play game that we found ourselves kind of digging a little more and more, that we're actually playing it on a little more consistent basis, and we kind of just take you through 3 things that we like about it, or 3 things that we think you might like about it. No, we don't get paid for the show. Nosgoth did not give us money to do the first episode about their game. It just happened to be what Jason has been playing a lot of lately. So tell us, what'd you think of Nosgoth?
Well, and just to say, that is kind of the theme, kind of the notion of it is, yeah, when we do a first look, honestly, you do first looks or whatever, and it's a game that you kind of have to cover. And a lot of the first looks I've seen are...
I love that comment. Why are you playing this? This game sucks. I know it freaking sucks. I have to play it. It's my job.
So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to play something that I'm just playing for a while and that I like and would actually like to maybe do a little thing on. So I'm going to try at least find one game every month. I'm going to do... I'll play for like 20 or 30 hours maybe to get a little more of a feel for it. So, what was your question? Oh, what did I like?
Nosgoth.
I'd have to go back to my script to figure that out. But no, yeah, I like how they do their map design. I think it's good for the way that they have the asymmetrical gameplay of range characters for the humans and the melee for the vampires. It's really interesting how they managed to make it so that you find advantages for both sides depending on where you go in it. I think that's one of their main things about it that makes it great. And I wrote something else. I'm really struggling to remember what it was now.
Atmosphere.
Atmosphere. Oh, yeah.
See, really I watched the video.
I know. I haven't watched the video in like 2 weeks, man. I don't remember it. But yeah, no, the atmosphere and the way it feels and just the kind of grim feeling of it all just really gives you a good feeling when you play it and just seems like the proper setting for that kind of game.
Awesome. Check it out. It's on YouTube and obviously on mmobomb.com. 3 things we like about whatever. Triple Play. Check it out. Next month, do you know what game you're doing?
I do, but I'm not going to tell.
Oh, all right, you big tease. Okay, last up today before we get to the weekly bombs. As much as we'd love MOBAs to go away, pretty much all of us, right? Everybody's putting out a new one.
Should have seen my Twitter yesterday.
Apparently, analysts are saying, yeah, there's still a lot of room for MOBAs to grow the market. EEDAR, who did a little report with VentureBeat. If you don't know who that company is, you probably aren't alone. That is I don't even know what the acronym is anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard stuff from them before. It's not like they're totally nobody. Let's see, looking on Wikipedia. Gosh, it doesn't even say.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it because I can't remember. It's electronic something. Electronic entertainment data something.
Analysts and research or something probably.
Yeah, I really want to look this up now because it's bugging the hell out of me.
Oh wait, no, electronic entertainment design and research.
Design and research. Thank you. So they're reporting that mobile revenue last year was $406 million. In 2014. That figure is expected to rise to $503 million this year in 2015, Good grief, man.
Another
Good
like
grief.
20% increase.
Yeah, that's almost a 25% increase. And we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, to be fair, the top 1% is responsible for 15% of the overall revenue, but if the top 10% generates 62, so that's going to be your League of Legends, your Dota 2s. Do you think Smite's up there?
I think that refers to the players,
Yeah,
not the games.
Oh no, yeah. But I'm just talking about the top performing MOBAs.
Oh,
Do you think
sure,
that's
overall.
League of Legends, Dota 2? I think Smite's obviously there.
Well, yeah, they mentioned it right there. Well, they talk about at least in terms of players. Like 76% of people play League of Legends, 41% play Dota 2, 16% play Smite, 12% play Heroes of the Storm, and 6% play Heroes of New Earth.
Wow, Heroes of New Earth has 6. I didn't even know their market share was that big.
And in case you're wondering, why do all the percentages not add up to 100? It's because they're talking about people playing multiple games. All right.
56% of money when you shell it out is spent on characters, whether it's to unlock them or make them look prettier. So that would be hero unlocks and skins. Doesn't surprise me at all.
No, not
Absolutely, just does not surprise me at all that that's the case. In fact, let me bring up. I'm going to bring up the Pareto chart there. Maybe. Come on, XSplit. There you go. That's
good XSplit. That's a good little XSplit.
That's a good XSplit. So the average spend per paying user by microtransaction. Okay, real quick lesson, real quick for any of you that don't follow free-to-play statistics. There's a difference, and you have to know which stat you're looking at. There's two key stats when it comes to the way people spend money in free-to-play games and what marketing researchers look at and what the developers and publishers look at. There's the average spend per paying user as $1 figure, and then the average spend per user, where you're taking the revenue and dividing it by your total player base, whether those individual players spend money or not. That second stat is the one that's more useful to us, because it shows us, hey, basically people are spending $1 per person. How successful can you be over the long term when you only have 20,000 players and they're only spending $1? But what you tend to see thrown out by the publishers and the developers is, of course, the average spend per paying user, because the denominator gets a lot smaller when you only take into account the paying users. So what you're looking at is the paying users. Sorry for that data lesson, but it's important to understand what you're looking at here. Not surprisingly, huge money in avatar cosmetics and hero champion unlocks. Not surprising at all.
Yep. That's exactly what we were talking about in the previous bit, 56%.
Yep. Boosts your experience, your money, follows in third. Non-avatar cosmetics, so things like your profiles cosmetics, or depending on what game you're playing, those odds and ends that aren't hero-specific but are account-specific. Randomized items. God damn it!
People, stop doing it.
Stop it!
Doing it.
Stop it! Don't buy the lockboxes!
Although, for what it's worth, although that is, as you can see, that is a lot of the revenue, a relatively small number of people actually buy. Only 10% of people are actually doing it. So, yeah, and that's a pretty good drop-off from the 19% in the non-avatar cosmetics. So, but that 1 out of 10 person...
Stop it!
You're a freaking idiot.
Stop it. Now, here's one I don't get, and maybe from digging into this you know a little more. What is an esports-related spend? What would I be spending? Would that be like me paying for... I don't watch the League Championship Series. I always watch the wrap-ups and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but would that be like me spending if they charged for an HD stream? Something like that? Would that be an esports-related spend? Or would this be things like... Smite's Odyssey thing, where you were spending money to get things in the shop, but it was going towards the prize pool for their thing. I'm not quite sure what that category is representing.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I really couldn't tell you.
Awesome. So we don't know. Account services.
But people are spending more on lockboxes than on that.
Yes, and game modes. People are spending more on lockboxes than they are on actual game modes. Yeah. Announcer packs and portraits bring up the rear. Not surprising, but yeah. So apparently we've got more MOBAs to look forward to. because
there's still room to grow, apparently.
they just keep making the damn money. Time to do the bombs. We left the news on a sad note, in my opinion.
Oh.
So I've got a couple bombs this week. I've got a mixed bomb right now. I don't even know if that's a real thing.
Can you do that? Is that a little dangerous to mix bombs together?
I think what we'll do is we'll break it up. I've got it's for Echo of Soul, which is going to be releasing here in the Western market. Spring is for the beta. There's a few things I like about Echo of Soul, and there's a few things I don't. And because of what I like and what I don't like, I'm not sure how this damn game's going to pan out. And if I'm actually going to play the damn thing. And if I'm being really honest, I think I feel the same way about Cabal 2 as well. That there's a few things that I like, there's a few things that I don't. I have no idea how these are going to pan out. So Echo of Soul, I like the art style. Yes, it leans a little more towards the cartoony aspect, but it's not like a WildStar or World of Warcraft. I just like the art style in general. I'm okay with a tab target game. I'm okay with a hotbar-based game, as long as it's done well. And it looks like it's done well in Echo of Soul. I like the idea of gaining souls to get your skills and stuff off of fighting other monsters. I think that's a neat little mechanic. I'd like to see how it's implemented. I haven't really watched any of the overseas streams because I'm trying to wait till I get my hands on it. There's a couple things that I don't like, though. One of them being area games. I mean, the elephant in the room. Area games is a mixed bag for me when it comes to monetization. There are some things that they do okay, and then there's other games that are just absolutely abysmally pay to win, in my opinion. And I don't think there's any monetization that they do that I would look at and go, that is awesome monetization. It's either, all right, I can live with this, or God, this is horrible. There's never one that I'm like, that works. So mixed bag on Echo of Soul. It does feel, obviously, like there's a lot of, we've seen this before in 900 other MMOs, so it does have a bit of a generic feel to it from everything I've seen so far. So there's that on the negative side too. So it's got dub bombs and A bombs. But I gotta give, I didn't even write this here, I gotta give a dub bomb to Hex Shards of Fate. They launched their first PvE stuff, the Frost, what is it, Ice Frost Arena? Frost Ring. Frost Ring Arena.
Frost Ring.
This week, and so I jumped back in to start checking it out. And seriously, Damina, my wife, and I have spent hours playing Hex. Yeah, they deserve to be sued by Magic the Gathering, and it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. But we're really enjoying the game. All right, you're up, sir.
Are you done yet?
I'm done. I'm done.
More bombs?
I'm done.
3, 4,
Hey, man, you talked about Hearthstone forever. Shut up.
I'm going to give a dub bomb to Google Maps for the best free-to-play game I played all this week.
I know where this is going.
In case you weren't aware, for their April Fool's joke, they just took it off today, apparently. It was still active yesterday when we were going to do the show, and I just looked at it before we got on today, and it's gone now.
Aww.
I know. But basically, you can play Pac-Man by going to any, almost any. I mean, you had to find a place with enough roads or whatever. You just find a spot on a map. You click the little Pac-Man button in the corner, and you can just play Pac-Man on the streets, in a random Google Maps spot. It was so great. I played it around like the house where I grew up. Have a Pac-Man run by and get the dots right in front, right on 8th Street there in International Falls.
My wife and I found that on accident. It was just literally looking something up, and we zoomed in, and then it popped up, and my wife was like, "Is that Pac-Man?"
But yeah, that is by far my favorite April Fool's thing that anybody did. So kudos to Google and Google Maps for doing that.
From the viewers, Greater Divinity says, Halo's going to Russia as free-to-play because Russia is really tolerant of lazy pay-to-win models while still firmly being a region that loves and is into Western games. China/Asia isn't as big on Western franchises, so it would be harder to get traction for the IP. North America, Europe isn't tolerant of pay-to-win models, so they have fewer monetization options and less pain points to drive sales. It's not surprising to see them release it in Russia only. And I think that goes exactly with what you and I were saying. This is a market that they can go into with a base that's going to like the game and the idea of the game, and they can screw around with what works and what doesn't as a payment model before they really damage themselves in a market that they don't want to damage the IP in.
Or maybe they can't if you read the article that I just did and that you were putting up on the site, like in the middle.
I didn't even read it yet. I got to
Okay.
image it, and then my first read through is the proofread. So
I'll just say that whatever details come up with the Russian monetization are going to be parroted, and we're going to think if they ever plan to release Halo over here, it's going to be something people are always thinking about.
see Skyforge. Go ahead next.
All right, Fresh Undead says The Bomb to Marvel Heroes 2015. Tried the game because I love Diablo-type games, and the more I played it, the more I liked it. It's my main game at the moment, and I'm having a blast. A bomb wall, Jason. You got to unpack those boxes at some point. But shut up.
All right, I thought it only fair that I put the A-bomb against Jason in the show notes, that I also had to put in the da-bomb that was given to him. V2099 gave a bomb last week that we were asked to read it in an angry voice because it was very, very angry. Jason was the next up to read, and so he did. He sounded like Hulk Hogan, and V2099 says da-bomb to Jason Winter for his Hulk Hogan impression. It was only fair.
Brother.
It was only fair that I put the da-bomb for you in there. Anyway, Sailor Neruda, this is kind of a meh bomb to him. It's, you know, one of those weeks. Says, so the credit limit in Skyforge is so hardcore gamers are more at pace with casual gamers? I don't know. That credit cap sounds kind of like the Soviet Union to me. If people have way more time than me to get better gear and good stuff for them, it just means I'll just be a casual. I don't think the more hardcore players should be hindered for that. Would they even want to play anymore once they've reached their credit limit? I just don't see this as a realistic solution. I don't think it's pay to win. I just think it's problematic. And I could agree with that.
I mean, there are going to be different attitudes on it, you know, going both ways. So it's an interesting experiment to try to see if you can still keep your players around.
As I said in my article where I wrote up the monetization details they did release, by the way, it's pretty much the same as Russia's, I'm going to withhold pay-to-win comments, but only until I see what kind of grind I'm looking at if I opt not to pay. You're up.
All right, Just Sue Me says, what Microsoft is doing with Halo is not really a new thing. In certain regions like South Korea, China, Russia, and South America, console game is not particularly popular, and PC free-to-play market is booming. Therefore, companies are porting popular multiplayer games with high brand recognition to PC and making them free-to-play. Similar examples are FIFA Online, Call of Duty Online, Counter-Strike Online, etc. Their releases are intended for those markets, and they usually don't come to Europe and North America. You know, like Phantasy Star Online 2. That's not coming to North America anytime either.
I hate you. You always got to jab me with that one. Because you know I would love to see it come. Question of the week last week. What do you think of Perfect World Entertainment's Arc platform? They've added games left and right from other developers and publishers, 5 games in 4 months. But don't we already have this type of service in Steam? Kestis24 says, question of the week, I'm tired of companies making programs that are copying Steam when they could save resources and time by simply making a deal with Steam. Instead, they release half-baked, often broken copies that cost people's patience and time. When games they're supposed to have on do not work because of programming malfunctioning. Yeah, I mean, that's, yeah, There you go.
And I just wonder if it's a little bit of like, you know, we talk about chasing MMOs, chasing WoW, or trying to be the next League of Legends. Is that what Perfect World wants? Are they trying to make Arc into the next Steam?
God, oh God, I hope not.
I mean, or the next Origin or next GOG or whatever, because I mean...
The next Origin.
Yeah, well, Origin is closer to Steam than Arc is.
Origin's still trying to be the next Origin.
Oh, okay. All right, so I get Fresh Undead again. All right, great show as always. As for Perfect World and Arc, I had it and uninstalled it. Basically, if it has anything to do with Perfect World, it is pay to win. Enjoy it. Pay to win or enjoy at some point in their games. The thing that bothered me about it was they had a deal on Torchlight 2 on Arc.
Yep.
Last year. And I was like, oh, $5. All right, I'm going to finally buy that. I meant to for a long time. It's on Arc, but whatever. It's $5. I did it. Like 2 days later, Steam had their sale, and it was $5. I was like, damn it.
Question of the week this week. Give me your thoughts on Cabal 2. I'm kind of a mixed bag right now, and I think Jason's just kind of, okay, aware of it. I don't think this is one you're really watching. Now that we're getting detailed videos of the game, see, that bugs me. Even though it's only us that reads this, that needs an ED at the end of it.
Or EDS. If you could only see his bad typing.
Right. Question of the week. Give me your thoughts on Cabal 2. Now that we're getting detailed videos on the game, and that should be a comma. Are you excited for the game?
Well, no, not necessarily, because he comes.
Yeah, I see. But in my head, it was all one idea.
Now it's a big run-on sentence.
No, I don't care. Run-ons are fine as long as the punctuation.
No, they're not fine.
Run-ons are fine as long as the punctuation is great.
Run-on sentences is fine.
Run-on sentences are fine. Don't answer that question in the comments. Give me your thoughts on Cabal 2 now that we're getting detailed videos. Are you excited for the game at all? If so, tell me why. If not, tell me why in the comments below. Don't forget your dub bombs and your A bombs, anything going on in the world of gaming, hell, anything you want to talk about. And if you've got a question for Jason and I that you'd just like to answer, us to answer on the show, by all means, throw it in the comments below. Until next week, Jason, where can everybody find you?
My Twitter is Winter Informal. My blog is jasonwinter.wordpress.com. I stream at twitch.tv/jasonwinter, and that's a run-on sentence for you.
I love run-on sentences. My name's Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magic Man. Thank you for joining us on the Free-to-Play Cast. We'll see you next Thursday. You can follow me, obviously, at mmobomb.com and on Twitter right there at magicman1, MAGICKMANN1, home of funky Magic Man spellings and run-on sentences. Until next time, gang, stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.